Rev up your engines. Lexus LS430, the V8 model. It's making a noise that bothers them. We're going to go through the whole thing, but we're going to try to pinpoint the noise first. Okay, now this is just normal cam noise. It's not going to make it now, so we're going to take it for a spin. It's an old car, but it's still smooth as can be. These things were their big luxury car. The second year they made them in the United States, they outsold BMW, Mercedes, Porsche. And that was just the second year. Everybody realized, hey, they're nice, they're smooth, they're V8s, they're rear-wheel drive, and they don't break down very often. Even though this one's now over 20 years old and has like 180,000 miles on it. We're trying to build up the noise though, so we'll take it on the highway, and we're gonna let the engine warm up. Of course, you know it's not gonna act up when I'm in it, but we're not gonna give up this fast. Now, it doesn't make the noise when he's idling, it's mainly when he's driving down the road and sometimes when accelerating, so we'll let it warm up a little and see if it'll make the noise. So he says, when the noise gets more prominent, the acceleration seems a little bit off. We're going to scan it and look at all the data, of course, but I'm trying to actually hear it now. You get a noise that comes and goes. There's so many different things that can possibly do it. He was thinking maybe the catalytic converter, but of course, the problem with the catalytic converters are, when they go, it's generally only when you take off or when you're idling. And we'll jack it up later and whack it with a hammer to see if it's any rattling inside it. But I don't hear that now, and generally in these things, the rattling is actually worse when they're cold than when they're hot, because when they get hot they expand and then the metal doesn't rattle as much, but when it's cold it does. So I doubt if it's a catalytic converter. While we're waiting for the noise, you can see the wood grain's still in excellent shape. The leather seats are in good shape. Everything on it still works. Even that old-fashioned navigation system. Being luxury cars, they had tape decks because businessmen would listen to business tapes. Well, it's decided not to really make the noise now, so we're going to turn around and go back, and I'm going to try to analyze it with my computer. Now, it does say it sounds kind of like metal on metal, so we're going to go look at all the bearings, all the pumps and everything, and analyze the live data. Now, this thing still shifts like a dream, runs like a dream. Now, it's got a big V8 engine, it's a heavy car, so he gets about 20 miles a gallon, and that's typically what these things are going to get. They're not phenomenal on gas mileage, they're a luxury car. And all these 20-something years later, it still runs like a luxury car. And it's being luxurious to me because it won't make the noise. So we'll jack it up and put the computer and see if we can figure it out. And see, that's the problem with a luxury car like this. Even though it's 20-something years old, it's so nice that when it does make a noise, the owners get mad. Now, if this is a Ford truck, you'd just say, hey, yeah, it rattles, makes noises and stuff. But you're going to notice it in a car like this. Now, since it didn't make the noise, I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with the engine, because if something's physically worn in the engine, a valve, piston, whatever, it's going to make the noise regularly. This is just the normal noise of the cams rolling over. It's got 180,000 miles on it. You get a little bit of noise in it. Now, it doesn't burn oil, gets the same gas mileage, but these are phenomenally overbuilt engines. So we're going to try to figure out what the noise is without actually having the noise. So the first thing we're going to do, turn the key on, plug in the data port, and let's see what's happening here. While you're waiting, you can see the leather's still good. Even the wood grain on the steering column's pretty good. Got a few little cracks on it, but I mean, you're going to get that on a steering wheel that's made of wood. The rust is still in pretty good shape. Leather hasn't come apart yet. Back seats are good. There you go, LS430, North America. Lexus makes great cars, and these were really nice luxury cars. The thing that I have against them is the level of technology and the price of the parts is kind of extreme for these V8 Lexuses. They're top of the line. When I find my wife's 300 series, parts are not that bad. They can be 3 to 4 to 5 times as much on one of these. That's one thing you got to worry about if you buy one of these used, especially one like this. Got 180-something thousand miles on it. All right, here we go. Now you can see a lot of it's good, pass no fault. Now there's a few faults here. One, we'll check the air conditioner, see what that is. He was thinking maybe the air conditioner was rattling. Well, let's see what the code is. Since the air conditioner is electronic and mechanical, being partly electronic, the noise could come and go. Check out the trouble codes. The codes are driver solar sensor circuit and passenger solar sensor circuit. Those are circuits to measure the temperature inside. They don't make any noise. It has nothing to do with that. We'll erase that code, but these sensors often go bad. It's to make the perfect air go in your face to see how hot it is, to how cold it is, mixed with the fancy AC system that it's got. So that's not the problem. We'll just erase that. So we'll look at the gateway codes, see what they are. Historical codes, Driver door ECU communication stop. So the driver door wasn't communicating with a computer. Front passenger door communication stop. AVC land communication impossible. Power seat communication stop. Well, that's not making noise either. You're going to get communication codes on any old vehicle. We'll erase them anyways. Now, the last code is ABS system. We'll see what that is. 0-point calibration of deceleration sensor not performed. Somebody at some point worked on it. We don't care about that either. So none of this has anything to do with the noise. So let's start it up and look at live data. See if there's anything in that. It's a little bit slow. Wow. That's because it's a 20-something-year-old car. The computers on these are much slower. You just need patience. Even with a good scan tool like the Sawtelle, you have to be patient on an older car like this. Here we go. We'll start looking at the data, see if anything looks squirrely. Fuel term is pretty normal. You know, it's less than 1%, maybe 1.6 and then less. For a car as old as this, the fuel trim isn't bad. Airflow sensor steady. See, it's got no misfires. All 8 of them, 0, 0, 0, 0. The oxygen lean to rich for all the sensors. This one's got 3 sensors. Is all 65 milliseconds, so they're all working perfectly. Well, still no noise and still no weird data. His father told him something about maybe one of the catalytic converters is getting too hot, so we're gonna jack it up and do a little temperature sensing. Now I got a new toy. It's an AGM phone, and it's got a phenomenal thermal system on it, as you're gonna see. Now, as you can see, you're getting all the heat sensor readings, and when I push the button down here, switch it over, not switching over, it'll show you the actual temperature. As you can see, minimum and max. So we're going to jack it up. Stick a jack stand so I don't turn it into a pancake. See what the temperature of the cats are. Now this system has a 2-into-1. That's more or less a resonator there. The catalytic converters are hidden under the front. So the first thing we're going to do is take temperatures of each pipe coming from the front cats. There's a cat on the left and a cat on the right. This pipe here, the middle of it is around 294 degrees. It goes up and down, but we go to the high point, and the high point there is 283, and here the high point is 287, and that's close enough. They're almost exactly the same. The reason I'm doing the pipes behind the cat is because the cats are inaccessible. You'd have to take half the car apart to get them, but each pipe is the same length. So the temperature coming out of each of them are the same, meaning both cats are working exactly the same. Now, as you can see, these thermal cameras are really handy. Of course, if you got a newer car, a scan tool like that will give you the catalytic converter temperature. The data is being picked up by the computers, so you don't have to use one of these. But on an older one, these are real handy. You can see, yeah, they're about the same temperatures, so they're both working perfectly fine, and they're not making any noise either. So what the heck, we got it jacked up in the air, and indeed, there is a little play back and forth here. We have found the source of the noise. Unfortunately, this car didn't start out even in the United States, but it's in Rhode Island now, and you can see the lower control arm is starting to rot away where the strut bolt's on here. So eventually that's going to need replacing for safety alone. Now we're going to look at the other side. Same thing, you can see it's starting to corrode away. It's going to need a lower control arm assembly. The bushings come with the kit when you buy it, but he does say here's kind of crunchy metallic noise, and that's definitely where it's coming from. And I would advise changing both sides, because you can see the actual frame of the car is in excellent shape, see? But these control arms, they will rust out on most of the Toyota and Lexus products because the salt on the road chews them up in the winter. Well, so there we have it. Runs like a top, still gets the gas mileage it always did, shifts like a dream, but this is what's going to happen to these northern cars. Anything that's steel is going to rust, and the control arms are made out of steel. Now, if you look at more modern cars, a lot of these parts are made out of special aluminum alloys, which of course do not rust like these do, and they can last a lot longer. But that's typical with Lexus. I spent a reasonable amount of time replacing control arms on these things over the past 50 years. They just will rust. In Texas, what happened was the bushings would eventually, 20, 30 years old, the rubber bushings would crack, and then they'd have the play, and you'd see the bushings going, and we would just put new bushings in. But as you can see this, putting bushings on this would be foolhardy because they're rotting away. So it would need the 2 lower control arms. But aside from that, this thing still runs like a top, doesn't burn oil. They were phenomenally well-built vehicles, and if it wasn't for the stinking salt on the road, this one wouldn't need control arms, but it does now. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.